before I want to get some callers, but before we get anywhere, I've admitted this to you in the past.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
last Broadway show I saw before the
Uh-huh.
lockdown was Wicked. I'd never seen
Right.
it. You know, my,
Hmm.
my mother-in-law couldn't come to New York because there was a plague coming, and she said, use our
Right.
tickets. And we felt kind of weird because we like, isn't there a plague coming? And we're in this packed house. I was never a big fan of the play, Keith. I
I'm
love
with
Wizard of
you.
Oz. I love a good musical. I had issues with it. I thought it was kind of gimmicky how it sets up the Wizard of Oz in the end.
Hmm.
I don't want to give anything away too much.
Right.
So, but you know, I heard great things about the movie. Took the child to see it over the weekend. I was not prepared for the greatness, the cinematic greatness, the theatrical greatness. To me, Keith, I was so blown away by Ariana Grande. I'm already a big
Hmm.
Cynthia Erivo fan. I'm,
Hmm.
you know, I'm not the audience for Ariana's music, and I thought she was dynamite. But I just
Uh-huh.
thought the film brought out so many themes in such deeper ways than the play did for me, of race, of queerness, obviously the
Hmm.
animal rights activism that's in the play
Hmm.
too.
Right.
But I found the film to be so speaking to the political age we're in right now, and that was something I was
Absolutely.
not expecting.
Well, you know what? I honestly didn't know what to expect when I was going in to see the film because I too, like you with the musical, I was kind of like,
It's all
I
right, you know. Yeah,
mean, I don't,
yeah, that's how
and
I
the thing
felt.
is that it's the same thing for me that whenever you see these musicals after the hype, because there was a lot of hype behind Wicked for a long time. So I saw
True.
it after the hype kind of
Me
died
too.
down. So then when I saw it, I was kind of like, so what was everybody
It's
all
all right.
crazed about? Yeah,
Yeah,
The Wizard and
yeah, that's
I,
how I
Defying
was.
Gravity, Look It Up Fly, that's cute.
Same, same.
But but you're right about the political aspect of it. And I guess, I didn't read the book. Did you read the book that it's
No, I
based
never read
on?
the book.
Was it
No.
John McGuire, I believe his name is? But John McGuire is an author who wrote several other books beyond that, where he was having these different looks at like the Cowardly Lion and how the Cowardly Lion, like he's created all these interesting backstories for all of these other
About the
characters
architect,
from,
yeah. And
and
that's
so
what
that's
Act Two
really
is
the
all
thing.
about as well. Yeah.
Right. And so when he was writing the book and trying to get the book published, one of our former colleagues, Judith Regan, when she was working at the publishing company that wound up publishing
Yes.
him, I think it was Simon Schuster, um, she was the person who spearheaded that book getting done. So I was
Oh,
like,
really?
oh, I feel much closer to the whole process, so I should, really invest. And so when I saw
I love Judith.
the
Hmm.
movie, honestly, you know, yes, the woman is green. She's a woman of color. So there is all those allegories and all the stories that we can put
It's all
attach
baked
to
in.
there. We've got
And
the poor
in
animal.
the play with a white actor playing the Green Lady, it doesn't have the same power
It
as
doesn't
Cynthia
have the
Erivo
same
playing at
resonance.
all. Yeah.
No, but we've had other Elphabas that were black. Saquon
Sure.
Sangblow, um, Cooper, what's her name? Lily
Hmm.
Cooper. So there's been a few people on Broadway that have actually managed to do it, but for some reason, because it's so baked in that idea, Adina, Kristen Chenoweth energy, even
Right.
having a black person play it on stage, it doesn't have the same oomph to it. But man, in this film, it is so apparent, especially after what we've just experienced, election wise.
Yes.
It just
So powerful.
everything, the
I didn't think I'd love it this much.
wizard is he's a piece of shit. He's a
Yeah.
fucking, he's a clown. He is, but he's a clever clown that has managed to dupe so many people. And it's like, ooh, who do we know that's doing that in charge? And then look at the people that are helping back him, Mrs. Morrible,
Exactly.
like she
Exactly.
ain't got no powers either, but she's still talking and tooting for the horn for him. And it was like, who do we know that we can put into that category? I mean,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of things that we can slot in from our political system right
There's a lot
now
of the
into that
emperor has no
film.
clothes in this. You're right. Let me
Amen.
tell you, my child is now getting into musicals more. He just saw Hamilton live for the first time. Like he knows
Okay,
Hamilton, but he just got to
okay.
see the play live for the first time. So took him to see it. I kind of had to drag him a bit. He wanted to see Moana 2 first, which I was very disappointed by. My kid loved this film so much. My 12-year-old boy loved this film so much. I said, "Hey, do you want to go see the Broadway musical? It's going to be a year till part two comes out." Keith,
Hmm.
my child, my show tunes child, is refusing to go see the play because he doesn't want to know what happens in part two. He wants to wait a year and see the movie. That's how much
because
my kid
he's
loved this thing.
because he's young.
Yeah, but I was shocked
But that's
at how rich
awesome.
it was and how great it was, and honestly, and how cinematic it was. And this, I thought a little long. They could shave 15 minutes off of it easily. Could easily cut 20 minutes off of it, but
Uh-huh.
a level of storytelling I'm not used to seeing in feature
In film.
films.
Well,
A
the
depth of
beautiful
storytelling
thing
and
is
character development. You could tell this is really based on a play, and I thought the film took its time and breathed better than the play did.
exactly. Well, the whole movie, this whole first movie, is technically just the first act of the
That's all it
musical.
is. Yeah,
And so it's interesting to see, like you said, the way that they've opened up those stories and opened up those songs, and using interesting visuals. The choreography was gorgeous. The cinematography was amazing. Like
yeah,
it was one of those that just went beyond being your average movie musical this go
I
round. Like,
agree.
and there's a few of them that I've loved in the past, but this one to me was like, wow. And now
Yeah.
for me, I don't remember what the second half of the show is.
Yeah.
So
There's
I'm
some
like,
gimmicky stuff, but
yeah,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing though what happens with this, because again, I remember the bits and pieces of how it all kind of falls together, where they make it look like, it's
Yeah.
the beginning of the Wizard of Oz. But
Yeah. Look,
I
I
loved it.
loved I liked Chicago well enough. I loved
Yes.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch. That's one of my maybe my favorite musical this
Really.
century. I loved Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. I thought it was the best film of the year that year.
I
But I
enjoyed
wasn't
Steven Spielberg's
surprised
West
by
Side
West
Story.
Side Story. I was shocked at how much I love this. So that's my show tune business. Do you want to talk to some
Wow.
listeners about The World on Fire now? Shall we get back to the?
Yes, yes. Get back to
Let's
let's
go
get back
to